Witness Protection Program.
That's me.
Uh, yeah, and we're going to be talking about unexpected friendships
Yeah,
and what we found here on Substack, of all places.
totally unexpected.
Yeah, and totally unstructured. Um, so what were your expectations going into Substack and writing and
I
um,
mean, I had never heard of Substack the week before I joined. So I wrote what I like to think of as an accidental memoir. And after it was written, I had a consultation with a friend of a friend who runs a literary agency who said, you can't sell a memoir without a platform. I had no idea what that meant. I am like a technology doofus, and I looked at Substack, and it seemed like the platform where I could stay anonymous, which was important to me because I have a therapy practice and I'm just, experimenting with putting more of myself out in the world. And then Substack became its own thing for me. So it was a more felt like more of a professional venture, and then it became very personal, bringing us to this, right? That I've what it's given me so surprisingly is feelings of connection, with people I would never otherwise have met. So that's why I started, and now I'm just kind of seeing where it takes me.
yeah, and I'm kind of like you. I also am a accidental memoirist,
Hmm.
and I started Substack for the same reasons as you. Like, I need a platform, and uh, I didn't go the traditional publicist route, but it's the whole what do you call it? The whole industry wisdom. Have a platform, and then that drives book sales, right? Um, and then I just started I had no idea what I was doing. I just had no expectation. I was like, no one's gonna want to read me. Uh, and then boom, I get a message from some sort of therapist somewhere. It's in the witness protection program, and
Someone who came undone.
yeah, and started reading my book and writing stuff about her reactions, and I was like, what does this person want? The natural suspicious sense of me, and I don't know. We just kind of forged this friendship, and I've forged it with some others too. Like I see Emi over there that logged on, um, and she helps me practice my Turkish once in a while.
Uh-huh.
Because yeah, I'm like, well, it's one of those languages when you don't speak it outside of Turkey pretty much unless you meet a Turkish person outside. Uh, and it's and then here we are. We are friends and Substack besties, kinda. How do you
Yeah.
feel about that?
I feel great about it. I think that the origin story of our friendship, that we had a lot of connection points that I think on paper we wouldn't necessarily have had. I don't think we would have ran into each other in real life. Uh, but the opportunity to get to read your book and then talk about it with you, it was like my own personal book club, was so cool. And part of what I really love about Substack that I never expected, which is this: you get to interact with other authors. Like, I came on there to write and not to read, but then I started reading, and um, the engagement has been such a gift. Um, so that is the first time I've ever read a book and chapter by chapter had a back and forth with the author. Um, I think when I think about our friendship, it started from that place, but over time, I mean, I remember the first time I messaged you my first name, and you were like, "Hey, thanks. I was wondering if you'd ever share that." And our humor is definitely a connection point. Uh, but I really appreciated that you never really asked anything uh, until we became, more real friends. But that you just kind of let it unfold, and it just felt very organic.
Yeah, like it was one of those things where it's like, oh, she's writing anonymously and whatever. I'm not gonna probe, and then
Mhm.
as um eh, and then talking about the connection points is like we started to as we chatted, we developed so many. Like we went to the same university
Mhm.
around around the same time.
Yep. I think we had overlapping years.
Yeah, which is kind of weird.
Yeah,
We probably ran into each other and like just walked past each other at some point and
I'm sure.
never know it.
Yep. I'm sure that's the case. And I think like that's also the thing about writing. I mean, it's been weird for me because I'm putting, you know, information about my life out on the internet, and you have no idea how it's going to be received or who's going to receive it. And but what I have found, I mean, occasionally I have a few regrets, but what I've found for the most part is that it's really put me in contact and connection with so many people I never would have the opportunity to know. And some of those connections are just a moment, a blip in time, and that's okay too. And some of them last longer. Also write daily with a woman I've connected with on there whose writing just resonated so deeply for me. Um, and so every once in a while, you hit on someone who you really can go deeper with, which is, again, just so unexpected for me. That was never what I thought about when I joined the platform.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I grew up in the era of like when the internet was just getting forged. I sound so old now. And it started in,
I'm older
you
than
know,
you, though.
I, not by much, but
No, just a little.
um it's kind of like that whole mantra that kind of stuck with me when I was younger. It's like, don't meet anyone online.
Yeah.
You don't know who the hell's out there, um, and they may be crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and
Well,
they,
I think about that all the time with my writing, and it amazes me that people will trust me, right? I mean, I am sharing my whole story, but I could be, you know, who knows who I could be? I could be anyone on there without a picture, without a name. I mean, of course, those can be made up too, but that even without that, I think what that has given me is sort of a belief that my voice is enough, right? I don't have to be anything other than who I am. And this like Substack Live, I've now done a couple, but the first one I did was absolutely terrifying, right? To show myself. And I think that's it's an additional connector, but it's really powerful to know you don't need that. You can just kind of put your insides out there, and that um, is enough.
I kind of wish I went through your approach of being anonymous first
Yeah.
because it's scary. Like just being able like to that point of like putting your insides out for the world to see,
Hmm.
um, which you know yours is deeply personal on some things, and mine is very personal on a lot of things, like you know, like suicide ideation and going through severe abuse, and it's like, shit, is this gonna uh like who's gonna read this? Is my future employer gonna read this and not hire me? And uh, are other people gonna think I'm crazy? Yeah, because I spent time in like, it's there's that stigma of mental health. I was like, oh, he attempted suicide. Like, is he nuts? And
So vulnerable what
yeah,
I'm doing. And I think what I'm doing as well. And I think
hmm
that's part of what the connection was early on, right? For me, reading someone else's words who's doing what I'm trying to be brave enough to do, which is really just be my full self and share that. I've spent so many years. I mean, you write a lot about masking, and uh, even though it's a totally different context, I feel like in many ways I spent almost my whole life, sort of wearing a mask of performance. And Substack ended up being one of the first places where I put myself out in the world without that mask, which is maybe ironic that I did it anonymously. But that was the only way I could feel safe enough to really experiment with that. You did it in a way, not to knock myself, but that was just totally brave. You put your face and your name out there with all your most vulnerable pieces and parts. So that's part of what
And
I do.
and likewise, and I think, on the topic of masking, it's uh I I think part of me writes a lot about that on purpose, kind of as a jab to um my family a little bit
Mm,
because uh they never saw the mask until I called it out, right? That
interesting. Yeah.
um they they knew me one way, and then even just last summer, or was it the summer before? I remember standing outside with my mom at my sister's house. We were watching the dogs run around, and oh, Shadow and her cousins. Anyway,
Yeah.
and she was talking to me about how isn't like masking lying,
Mm,
you know,
yeah.
um,
It's
and and it's just kind of a hard thing to explain to someone who like, but and then it's like, why do you need to mask, right?
mm,
Um, and in just trying to explain, like, if I don't mask, if I don't filter myself, then people get upset, right? I tend to be too blunt. I tend to come across as an asshole.
yeah.
And so I did it as an experiment for a couple days.
Yeah.
No filter with my mom. Her first thing was, "Why are you such a oh, what was the descriptor that she used? A pompous asshole. Why are you such a
Oh,
pompous asshole?"
that's a that's that's a descriptor. Uh,
Yeah, and case in point, why
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mask, you know?
Well, and it's interesting. I think it's different for me, or my experience unmasking has been so different, that I think I developed this mask as a young girl, and maybe I needed it then. I don't really know, but letting it fall as an adult, what I have found is behind that is just so much more meaningful connection, right? Even people, I've always been uh, like a I've my mom used to joke that I collected people, that was my hobby. Like I love connection, I'm affectionate. I have I'm so grateful for the relationships I've had, and but I always had this wall up, right? That I needed to appear a certain way to be loved, or I'm a people pleaser. I needed to do my job well, take care of other people to get what I needed. And my experience has been that actually, the more I am myself and the more I let people know me, the parts I used to really keep hidden, the richer the connection has become. Now, I haven't tried it with my family of origin, so that's that's a whole nother story, right? You developed your masks in reaction to that environment, and so those are going to be the people that are most uncomfortable seeing you let that fall. Um, I mean, you can experiment on me someday and just go full. What is the term she used? Full pompous asshole,
Yeah,
and I'll let you know how it comes across. But it may be that your experience with other people outside of that sort of original family gives you a very different experience.
and, you know, it's very hard for me to just kind of drop the mask with just like I'm like, for the record, just so people that don't know me, like I'm autistic, and with that comes a way of not really understanding social cues, etc. And that's where me masking uh comes from. It's like people can't usually tell I'm autistic until I'm like, hey, I'm autistic. And they're like, no, you're not. Haha, funny joke, Chris. You know. Um, and it's still very difficult for me to drop the mask with my family because it's like a constant series of being misunderstood all the time, right? So then it's like, okay, so it just kind of just like perpetuates the cycle for if my family's misinterpreting me, um, who else is, and then
Yeah. I mean, that makes total sense to me. And I think there's something in there. I mean, just to clarify, I don't feel like I've just dropped the mask. I mean, there are ways in which I have, but I think I'm careful about where I drop it. And um, less and less, like, I think the more I do this, the more comfortable I feel in my own skin. But there are certainly places in the world where keeping that mask on is actually, in some ways, helpful, I think. But being able to let it down with people I trust has been empowering. And of course, Substack was like sort of the next level of it. Like, I ask myself more times than I can tell you, like, how did I get here? Like, how did I start as someone who was so contained and so under wraps and um, struggled so much to share that suddenly I'm like, yeah, let me put it all out there on the internet. Um, but I think because of the like baby steps I took practicing with people in my life that I trusted, and the the response I got, the good response I got overall has helped me to just kind of take that risk. And at some point, maybe I will even attach my name to my face. But putting my face out there felt like a pretty big step too.
yeah, and I don't know, something just can't like it's very easy for I, I it's very easy for people to make friendships here. I mean, like virtually because all of a sudden you're connecting with people worldwide, right? Um, and like one is in control of how and when the engagement happens, in terms of like, oh, X person just wrote me. I'll write later. I don't need to respond. And
Yeah.
but that friendship and relationship develops digitally, um, at its own pace. Do you find it difficult to make relationships and friendships uh, in real life, out in the world where you have to interact in real time?
Um, I find that much easier, actually. I I'm not. I am an extrovert. I think. I just wrote a note about this. I consider myself a shy extrovert. Like, if
Oh
you
yeah, I saw that actually.
right, if you use the definition of introvert and extrovert as who do you recharge with? Do you recharge by yourself or do you recharge with other people? No question. I recharge with connection and in the presence of other people. But I hate parties. I hate large groups. I get really awkward. Uh, so those are not my scenes for meeting people. But if I have an opportunity to really spend time with someone one on one, that doesn't feel hard for me. Like, that feels, I mean, you're going to hear my therapist, my inner therapist come out. That feels like a gift. And it's why I became a clinician, that sort of deep work and really getting to know someone. I like that. And that, I think, gets you far in relationships. Um, I actually have a much harder time. I mean, I know this wasn't our experience that we became friends very organically online, but I think you're probably the first person I've ever done that with. That I'm
I'm
skeptical.
special.
Yeah, you're special. What I what I always tell my kids, you're not special.
Yeah.
You're special,
Oh.
but you're not special. Um,
Oh.
in a good way. In a good way. None of us are, right? We're all people. We're all connected. Um, but yeah, I find it harder to trust. Like, who is the person at the other end? What are they? Are what they're giving you really who they are? And so, like, that's what I liked about our friendship developing is it happened over a long period. It was organic. And of course, reading your book and your story meant that um, I just got to know you in a different way. I trusted it. And
Mhm.
I'm usually pretty careful online, I guess I would say.
Oh, me too.
What about you?
Um, I find it harder to make friends in the US.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Can I say something
Um,
really therapist-y?
okay.
Say more.
Uh-oh. Um, it's and I kind of alluded this in one of my essays that I wrote that people have a commitment problem,
Mm,
it seems.
mhm.
Uh, and it I can strike up a conversation with anyone, anywhere, at any time. That
Okay.
that people are receptive to the conversation, but then when it's like, okay, I've seen you here at this coffee shop now for like 2 months.
Yeah.
Uh, here's my number. Let's get together. I'm taking you literally when you say, yeah, let's get together. It'll be fun,
Yeah.
right? And then it's when like we make plans, like, hey, like what about Saturday? Like, let's go. I don't know, let's go walk in the waterfront or something. Um,
Mm,
it's like, yeah, 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 yeah. And then 10 minutes before they're supposed to show up, boom,
mm,
you know. And for me, I'm a data person. Two or three
yeah.
times you do that, like I'm gonna stop talking to you.
Yeah. I
Like
mean, that seems like a reasonable choice. But I wonder if the experience is different, um, because you're a man. Like, I wonder,
maybe.
I mean, I don't know if, right, it's with men or women or, but, but, and this is not about you. I think in general, I'd have my guard up more with a man than with a woman who did that.
Mm,
Um,
that makes
yeah,
sense.
I don't know if that's sort of part of your experience. Um,
It's fairly consistent, right?
mhm,
In terms of like it just happened this past weekend. Like I in this text chain with a few new friends that I made, and hey, let's go play pickleball. We had planned. I even like we reserved the courts and everything, and then literally like, and that was like mixed. I was like four guys and four girls,
interesting. Yeah.
and it's like they all or a couple of them bailed because they had kid commitments, I suppose. But
Yeah.
then why make plans? And then the two were depending on rides from the other people that bailed, so they couldn't come. So we can't fault those two girls at
Yeah.
uh but
Yeah.
it's like Jesus.
Frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, that makes sense. I do think, yes, as a mom of three, kid stuff does put a damper on social life. Um, but to your point, you can be thoughtful about that and not say yes if you don't have the time to engage.
Oh, I even brought down the excuses like, hey, the pickleball court has a playground. Bring your kids, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Uh so like that way like people didn't feel like I have to pick between pickleball or my kid.
Yeah.
Um but um Anyway, yeah, it's just I just find that like, a very consistent thing, not just to me personally, but to you know just other friends that I have that are international.
Hmm.
It's like a common critique that we have of the American culture of the they say yes to being polite, but there's always that excuse. They always come up with an excuse days later,
Yeah.
and they text it to you because it's
Easier
easy.
that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean that I definitely can see that. I think maybe I am an anomaly because I'm pretty it's not that I've never backed out of anything, but I pretty much try not to make commitments I'm not going to keep. Um Sometimes life gets in the way. That does happen, but that would annoy me too. I'm also pretty good about hounding people. I don't like if I like someone, like I'll feel, you know, but that's with people I'm already friends with. I think in a new friendship, actually being a data person makes sense because you don't want to keep putting yourself out there to somebody who isn't really interested in engaging. And I think you're right. Like in that sense, it's easier when it's on the internet because there's less pressure and there's not a time frame, right? It can just kind of unfold as it unfolds, and that's okay.
Yeah, and then I wonder how many people are like, he hasn't responded in 5 minutes, and how often they're
That's
glued to their
true.
phone, too.
That's
It's meh.
But it's just, as we're talking about friendships, I'm thinking about sort of the progression of our friendship that, in the beginning, it was comments on essays, of course, and then it was messages, and then eventually we exchanged numbers and we text. And I think if for me, if it had started at that level, or if I had even met you out and you were like, hey, let's grab a coffee, like I would have hesitated, right? And that's just because of me and because I'm married and,
Mhm.
not that there was, not that this is just like a lovely friendship, but I think in real life I wouldn't have
It
known
wouldn't have been as faster, or it wouldn't have progressed that quickly, or not quickly.
or if it progressed quickly, I would have been really wary, right? Like
Yeah.
the internet sort of gave us space that I really trusted. We're friends and we have all of these connections, and it's it's a meaningful friendship, right? And
Yeah.
that it was allowed to progress slowly, actually, I think is why it developed into a real friendship.
Yeah, I sometimes wonder because you and I chat a lot, and
Mhm.
I was like, I wonder how her family feels about it. Like,
They don't know you.
if
I read all your comments to my husband.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean they're well, how I feel about this. Like your comments are just they're always moving and beautiful. And they're my favorite thing about Substack in the sense that they make me, they take something I've written and they make me think about it in a whole new way. And I sometimes see so much more in my own experience because of the way you write about it, which is so crazy. And I always I read them to my I have two kids that are 19 and 18. I'll read it to them. I'll read it to my husband. Sometimes I'll share it with a friend. Like it's just so I think they're fine with it. Uh they know you're my Substack bestie. That's how I refer to you.
can we stop with the compliments? No,
Yes.
just kidding.
No, you're so uncomfortable.
Oh, it's making me squirm a little.
I hate your writing. That's why we
Yeah,
became friends.
yeah, exactly. My writing's crap,
Yes, yes, total
and
shit. Uh-huh. That's why we became friends.
yeah, um, yeah. No, um, it's just for me. It's just like crazy, like because I've like connected and exchanged. Well, I can't speak English anymore. I exchanged numbers with other people, and I'm like I've always like I try to be cautious about that too. Of like I'm
Yeah.
not like over texting
Mhm.
because knowing how easily I can be misinterpreted, uh,
Yeah.
like that, like I don't want to be misinterpreted. Like is he hitting on me? Like it's like so like I'm always like very like I'm cautious. Like
Yeah.
I try to walk that fine
Yeah,
line of
I think it's a good
yeah,
choice.
yeah, of like, eh, yeah, and I just thought it was crazy how many like as we started chatting, like how many connections we had just
Yeah.
in like similar orbits, and
Yes. And yeah, I mean, so, so many, real life connections, but also, I mean, I think the thing that always struck me is that, like, you do not fit the demographic of any of my friends. Almost all of, I mean, I don't, I'm not a man hater, but like most of my close friends are women. And, like, I just don't, I think if, I mean, I'd be friendly in a coffee shop, but I don't know that we would have ever sort of made any of the connections, which is part of what is so wonderful, I think, about Substack and about getting to know someone through their writing. I mean, I think you do have to be careful because you don't necessarily know the person just because you know their writing, but
yeah,
but,
exactly.
but also you do know things about them, and it's such a different depth than when you meet somebody sitting in a coffee shop or at the gym or wherever.
Yeah, and it's funny, like, uh, you're you and I share the same demographic of friends. My friends tend to be mostly girls. I like, I don't know, like,
Because women are awesome.
exactly, exactly. But I feel less less guarded with women than I do with men. I
Hmm.
don't know why. It's
Yeah,
just I've always been like that. I've always had, growing up, most of my friends were girls.
yeah, me too.
Yeah,
But it
and
makes more sense for me.
yeah, m and maybe that's what kinda makes me, or made shape me into, like a not a feminist, but someone who advocates for that same kind of equality as us dudes, you
Yeah.
know?
Yes, which is also such a draw, right? It's, well, I wrote an essay about you.
Yeah.
I don't know that I should share the title, but you are. I can't do it. I can't say it attached to my face. But I think that's such an incredible quality, right? When you're not just like a man who is a feminist, but when you are a person who not just supports people who aren't like them, but who advocates for them and who uses their voice to lift other people up. That is an incredible quality, and I don't think you see it all the time. So,
I think, like, I don't know, I think my brain works a little bit differently, right? Um, it's just looking at the human across from you, right?
mhm,
Like, I is it right that, like, societally, people, uh, like, hold women down a little bit, or
mhm.
a lot,
Yeah, just a
um,
smidge.
uh, you know, uh, and it's I think we forget about the human element, and
Mhm,
I don't know how we get past that because even when we were like, not just for me, like, it's not just the whole, women's issues piece, but, like, uh, when we were still struggling, when the whole Black Lives Matter movement started, and that whole, cop shooting African Americans who were running away from them, uh, and how that brought up the whole, like, systemic racism
mhm.
um, that goes on in this country, or that builds this country. I wonder how much of it was because I grew up so much overseas that, um, you're forced to look at people for what they are, and that's just your fellow man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that that was hugely impactful. I think for me, being a therapist has given me some of that, and I don't pretend to be able to be inside anyone else's experience. But that thing that you're talking about, like just the thread that runs through all of us as humans, I think sitting in an office with people at their hardest moments and like really hearing people's stories makes it impossible not to recognize all the connection points of being a person in this world. And again, like that is not to say everybody has a different experience and different struggles. And, but yeah, I mean, I think I have the same, um, I don't know what the right word is, incredulity. Like I can't, like, it's hard to understand how people can't see that. Um, that we're all people under there. um, and yeah,
Like little Frankie.
like little Frankie. I mean, you have to give an introduction to little Frankie if you're going to mention him.
Oh yeah, if we're gonna jab little Frankie. Uh, so what led up to my therapist friend here writing about me was uh Ellen, who wrote this like viral essay about just the way I can best sum it up is women just kind of like not giving a fuck anymore
Yeah,
and just like
it was
becoming
called,
unfiltered.
it was called The Great Unfucking. That's
Yeah.
the title.
Yeah, and um I had written a comment like um yeah, like pretty much in support of that essay and I months later I'm still getting people that like it and stuff, but uh oh, then comes in little Frankie who what was it? He was saying how feminism was and is taking away from prostate cancer research, which those kinds of comments were totally unrelated to what the essay was about, and B, what I was writing about, and basically he blamed women for his
Everything.
prostate having issues. Uh,
Yeah, I feel like he blamed them for every badness in the world, but by way of his prostate.
yeah, and um, and some of the stuff that he was spouting out was crazy. A, B, uh, he provided facts from Brave.com and FatherlyLove.com, and he was presenting that as understood fact. I've never heard of either websites.
No, me either. No.
Yeah, and so basically, little Frankie was one of those crazy drunk uncle
And
people.
let's also mention that you eviscerated him, like in the most, sorry, I'm going to compliment you again, in the most clever of ways. I mean, just took him to task. I mean, I would have tapped out long before, because he's exhausting, and of course you're never going to change his mind. But what you did was stand up for women, right? And uh, yeah, now I'm going to say it out loud. Little Frankie called you a mangina. I wrote an essay called My Friend the Mangina. Right? It's really about, um, I mean, all of my essays are about something that stirs feeling for me. And this one was that there was something about you're standing up very publicly and calling this guy out, because there's no doubt he is harassing women on this platform. Like he absolutely has to be. And um, that was a pretty wonderful thing to witness, the takedown of little Frankie. Uh,
Oh yeah, but yeah, and I think he ended up blocking me actually.
yes, he blocked you, which
Yeah,
is ironic. So I think you did a great job. I'm not sure I could have done that. I think I would have blocked him long before, but
Oh.
you outlasted him.
Oh, I can be very stubborn.
Yeah, no, I gather. I think the other thing that's important to talk about, this is a total shift away from what we've been talking about, but part of the connection and the friendship is absolutely the humor, right? That I would say both of us write about some pretty ridiculously heavy, uncomfortable things. And what is also true is that we both are biting and like to laugh. And I think that's such an important part of our friendship, but friendship in general. I always say I like my friends soft on the inside, spicy on the outside, because the, the humor is important, right? It keeps you going.
It is, but I mean, I'm quite unsure how funny I really am because I get a lot of eye rolls from you.
That's true. But your unfunny is very funny to me. So I don't know. It works. It works somehow. You tell a lot of dad jokes. I had a dad who told a lot of jokes, and it made me insane. But somehow, coming from you, I find it very funny.
Hmm. I did, speaking of friends, I went out to dinner last night
I
with a
knew
friend.
there was one coming. Yes.
We went out to eat Indian food.
Uh huh.
Yeah, which was good. Um, and I asked the guy, we had ordered garlic naan.
Okay.
Yeah, which is really good. So I asked the guy for the recipe. Made me sign some documents. It was just your typical non-disclosure agreement.
There we go.
Yeah.
I have to say the number of times we've texted where you start a joke in a text thread, I have no idea you're joking, and I respond with like, "Really? What happened?" And then of course it's a dad joke and I'm like, "Oh my god." Like
Yeah, sometimes my jokes have a long walk down the plank.
so I've learned I don't respond quickly anymore. I always wait to see if there's more coming because I'm a fast, like once I'm texting with you, if I'm available, I respond pretty quickly.
You know what happens to me a lot
Here we go. Yeah, what?
is I'll be in a conversation and then I'll start a story and I'll end the story and everyone's just waiting.
This is not a joke.
No,
This is real.
and there it is. There it
Yeah,
is. Like
there it is.
they're expecting a joke
Yeah,
and I'm just sharing a story and they're like, "Where's the punchline?"
yeah.
It's like there's no punchline here, buddy.
I definitely recognize myself in that. I've done that many times with you. So I'm not a dad joke teller, but I just I feel like humor is just so infused in how I relate to people, and um, frankly, in some ways, the darker the material, the more I need the humor. They just like they go together for me. They're like peanut butter and chocolate for me somehow.
I have a question for you.
Okay, shoot.
Um, I'll give you context first.
Okay.
Um, I think when I started writing on Substack, um, stylistically, I was writing like I did in my book,
Mhm.
very kind of like dark, and sometimes it wasn't. Things don't resolve nicely,
Yeah,
right? Um, and I was wondering how, because you and I are both obsessed with growth, right?
yeah,
It's one of the things we like text each other a lot about, like, oh my God, I just lost 10 subscribers today.
yeah,
And
yes,
um, and I've been noticing, or I've had a bit of a shift in terms of how I started writing things with that kind, like dark topics, but with a lot of levity, right?
Mhm.
Um, and like I'm wondering, and because you talk a lot about some pretty heavy topics too, but it's like you have your own unique way of bringing in levity to those hard
Yeah.
topics.
Yeah.
Um, do you find that balance of seriousness and levity better for the reader, better for the audience, better for even just developing friendships on Substack?
So I am obsessed with numbers, which I hate because I don't actually care about numbers. I actually, my essay coming out on Friday is called The Dopamine Carnival of Substack. It's about just this. But I think when I write, at least when I write in the way I want to be writing, I'm not thinking about any of that because I'm really just trying to put my feelings on the page. And humor is part of how I think and feel and operate. And so sometimes it gets, I'm just not that thoughtful. I'm not that intentional about it. I am intentional about, like, I have a queue of essays I've written. I'm intentional about trying not to put too many heavy ones back to back, that I'll throw in a lighter one mixed in with a heavier one. But I think in what actually comes out on the page, I try really hard, with some success and some not success, to not think about how it's going to be received. Because when I start writing from a place of what are my readers going to think, or what is my mother-in-law's on here, what is my mother-in-law going to think, what is my friend going to think, then I start performing. Like, then I feel like whoosh, the mask comes back up. So maybe this dives deeper into writing than we were intending to go, but I don't really think about the humor when I'm writing. Sometimes it comes out and sometimes it's not there at all, because whatever it is I'm feeling in that moment isn't doesn't come mixed with humor. Um, and sometimes it's just lighter. And so I'm thoughtful about what I publish when, but I'm not intentional about when I sprinkle it into a piece or not. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And something you said made me think about uh, something completely different in the sense of you talked about, oh, your mother-in-law is going to read this, or uh, and I think I think that I I I struggle with something similar in the sense that, like, I'm I'm very careful, uh, and when you and I started corresponding together, um, I you can have I went through some shit. I write a lot about that shit that I went through,
That's a good time.
and and but I'm very careful about, like, sticking to the facts,
Hmm.
and and you know having you form your own opinion,
Yeah.
and so I for me like, I'm using it as a platform to say things I didn't normally get to say,
Yeah.
right? um Especially, like, uh and some essays are targeted to very specific people in my life,
Yeah.
or that are no longer in my life, but other pieces are for my family, because it's I have very strong independent women in my family, like my mom and my sister.
Yeah.
Both my sisters are actually strong, independent women, and sometimes I can't get a word in when I'm talking with
Uh-huh.
them face to face.
Yeah.
Uh, and or um, they don't have enough time to really, or don't make the time when we're talking face to face to fully understand the argument I'm trying to make.
Hmm.
Uh, so then I write something like, I don't know if you read the myth of laziness piece
Hmm.
that I wrote. Oh,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
was very targeted to a couple
Yeah.
people in my
Yeah.
family, you
Yeah.
know. Um,
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I do find I don't write in that way. Like, I'm not speaking to anybody in particular in my writing. I'm really just, it's a way for me to process my own feelings. But what I have found is that writing has helped me have much more in-depth conversations with people I love. I mean, I think primarily about my husband because I share every essay with him before I publish it. And I, anytime I write about someone, I actually share it with them ahead of time because I don't want to like violate anyone's
mhm.
trust. And so I won't edit it for someone, but I will decide not to publish it if someone's not comfortable with it. But it's a little bit of a digression. My point is more that it's opened up conversations that I just don't think I ever would have had. Not because I was afraid to have the conversation necessarily, but because I didn't, I think like emotions move through us so quickly that writing has become a way for me to hang on to it a little longer and to understand it. And then I can share it with the person I need to share it with. Um, but I don't think I've ever written like with somebody specific in mind. Uh, because when I do, I start editing myself and then I'm not going to say the things I really am feeling. I don't know if that makes sense. It sounds like our process is very different, but it leads to the same place of people in our lives are getting to know us more deeply through the writing
And or differently, right?
differently. Hmm.
It's, I think,
I'm plugging in.
I think for me, it's made me a lot more intentional of how I approach relationships now too. Like just any kind of friendship, because like I've gotten to the point where like a lot of the people I've met or interact with bring some sort of depth or insight
Yeah.
into the um, into our interaction that I want more of in real life too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be- Because it's one of the things I've realized, both being a fake American and, and also autistic, is people really love small talk here.
This is
Like,
why we're friends, because I hate small talk.
and I got to thinking how much, uh, like I've done this. I've gotten good at small talk, even though I hate it.
Hmm.
And I contrast conversations I've had with people on Substack versus uh like just even recently I've had an entire conversation, an hour and a half conversation with someone that was all small talk.
Wow. Yeah.
And like we didn't achieve nothing. Or
Yeah.
we didn't achieve anything. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's not the correct English. We
That's
didn't
right.
achieve nothing. Um
I understood what you were saying.
yeah. And and it's something I just want, is that depth. Like I wanna see you. Like I
Yeah.
want uh like know you, not like deeply, so we fall in love and whatever. But I just like I just want to know who you really are.
You want
Uh,
you want real, uh,
yeah,
which I think, I'm on the same page with. And what's hard is sometimes it's hard with new people when you're getting to know someone new. It takes a little while, I think, to figure out, is this someone, at least for me, I think, like, is this someone I feel able to be real with, that I want to take the mask down for? And like, is there a connection there, right? Because you don't connect with everyone, nobody does. But I mean, I also feel like I definitely feel like I'm in a similar place, that I don't want relationships that aren't based on something substantial. I probably never wanted them, but at this point in my life, I'm not willing to put much energy into relationships that aren't going to be something meaningful on some level. And obviously, like, not every friendship carries the same weight, but um, I just, like, I have a different perspective on time and what matters to me. And I will be fierce for anyone I love, but I also feel like I don't want to put my energy into something that isn't reciprocal.
yeah, and it kind of also like I don't know about you, but for me, I'm in a unique opportunity where I've had to reset my entire life, right?
Hmm.
Um, and like when I moved back up to Massachusetts in 2023, I just had for so whatever reason, I'm remembering a conversation I had with my sister where she quoted Warren Buffett on, you know, show me your friends and I'll show you your future, kind of a thing. Like
Hmm. Yeah.
the message being like you you are you are the company you keep, pretty
Yeah.
much, right? And amidst that, amidst my big reset, um, which I'm still resetting,
Yeah.
uh, like it's I see it now as an opportunity to start like building the kind of relationships I I want and need,
Yes.
um, and and within that becoming more comfortable with developing boundaries, like
Hmm.
and or setting expectations. Like if you're gonna commit to something,
Yeah. Please
commit to
show
it,
up. Yes.
right?
Um, yeah, I think that's right, and I love that term, reset. I am a little bit allergic to the term healing, even though I use it sometimes. I love resetting and rebuilding, and um, being thoughtful about what you need in your relationships. I know boundaries is like a huge topic that we could spend forever talking about, but I think it's setting expectations for other people, but it's also about setting expectations for yourself, what you will tolerate, right? I think I've thought a lot about sort of the difference between boundaries and requests. And requests are something you ask of somebody else, hey, I'd like you to show up if you say you're going to show up. And boundaries are something you hold for yourself. You don't need anyone else. So you can say to yourself, if I'm in a relationship with a person who isn't showing up, I'm not going to stay in the relationship, right? That's a boundary. And it sounds like for you, part of your reset is being more aware of what boundaries you need to feel good in your relationships. Um,
Yeah, and it's something that I've also had to like learn, or learn to stick to, because it's very easy for one to get very complacent, which would happen, which is what happened to me uh with not to get too deeply personal, but it's what happened with my ex-wife, right? I It was like in the beginning, it was just for me a phase. I was just walking out of a relationship where like I left the one who got away behind,
Yeah.
right? Uh, and the other than, and I genuinely don't mean this in a bad way, but like I, was like rebounding, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, I feel like I wasted like 12 years of my life on not listening to my gut, right?
Yeah, although I am trying to think of it because I can definitely look at a lot of years of my life as I wasted with this and that, but like that's how you got to where you are, right? And I don't know, this is how I think about it for myself that as I've gotten older and had more experiences, I've learned and I've grown, and I couldn't have gotten here without where I've been. Not that I'm at some mecca, like, Lord, I have I have a ways to go. I'm still growing. I'm still working. I don't mean to say on any level that I'm a finished product, but I guess the thing I feel grateful for is that we get to keep growing if we choose to, if we're willing to do the hard work and look at ourselves and make ourselves uncomfortable. I have historically been terrible at holding good boundaries, and it's been a work in progress for me. But the more I'm able to do it, the better I'm able to do it, if that makes sense.
You ever hear of the podcast called Work in Progress?
No, I have not.
It's a good one. It's what's her name? Uh, the actress that used to be on One Tree Hill, Laura Bush.
Jenna Bush? No, that's that's the president's daughter.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know.
Uh, I think her last name is Bush.
Sophia?
So yeah, Sophia Bush, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Uh,
We got it.
Teamwork.
Yeah.
Wow.
Teamwork when
Uh,
you're in your 40s.
it, it, Side note: as I've gotten older, these
Hmm.
are the kinds of conversations I've been having with my friends. It's like it, it it's like you remember that movie that we just saw the movie with the guy
Who
with
did the thing? I know.
yeah, that
Yeah.
goes out with the girl, you know, yeah, and and so it's like we just anyway, um, that
Deep and meaningful.
yeah, um, don't get old, guys, don't get old, uh,
Old.
but love that podcast. Uh, I think one episode kind of just blew my mind in the sense of I had my life had just collapsed, right? And for
Mhm.
whatever reason, I just was looking through some podcasts and Work in Progress came up as a
Yeah.
suggestion. And I listened to that day's episode. And the guest that she had on uh, at, made a very compelling point for me that, uh, when we go through hardship in our lives, it it's very easy for us to fall into the whole uh why me, why did this happen to me,
Yeah.
um and which is where I was at, like,
Hmm.
but she's like, I think the better question for you, one, to ask, and mind you, this guest had been through some horrendous shit too.
Yeah.
uh she's like, the better question to ask is, why did this happen for me?
Yeah. Yeah.
and
That's beautiful.
and that just kind of like for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. I mean, I think the worst, I mean, I write about this all the time. I I think about it, the worst things I've experienced have been I my best teachers. I always talk about grief as my best unwanted teacher. And it's unfortunate that it has to be that way. Like, wouldn't it be nice to understand these things without all that hard stuff? But I don't think it's how it typically works. Um, and I also think if you get to live long enough, you're going to experience some version of hardship. And it's not to say it's all the same, but I don't know anyone who's I talk with a lot of people because of my job and because I like to talk to people, but I would say I don't know anyone who has made it to their 40s without some really significant pain in their lives. Um,
But sometimes it's too much character development.
that's true. Agreed. Agreed. And it's not all the same, and it's not all the same level. So, um, but
Yeah,
but I think it's part of being human, unfortunately.
yeah, and it's if you look at it from that way, I think Plato said it best, where he said, "Be kind to everyone you meet because you don't know the road they took to get uh, to
Yeah.
there." Basically, like you don't know that person's journey, uh,
Unless you've read their book.
unless you've read their book or their essays. When's the
Yeah.
book coming out, by the way?
Uh, so I don't know. It is currently out on submission, and I am hoping to hear any day now. Of course, hearing may mean nothing good, but it may mean good news, and I will certainly. I don't think I will be able to keep that inside, so that will come out on the page at some point. So
What's the word that these therapists like to throw out? It's manifest, manifest.
I am not. My book agent told me to manifest good energy, and I was like, "What the fuck is that? I don't know how to do that." So I am not a therapist who uses the word manifest. I don't know how to do it. But if other people out there are good manifestors, I would love some manifestation of good book energy. I would take it. I would borrow it for sure. So thank you for asking. And I just want to say, I do have a little one coming in, so I feel like we could talk forever, but we can't talk forever. That
Oh, no.
as as we're talking, I'm looking at your name is at the top of the screen, and it's at your title now that I'm still here. And I just want to say, I am deeply grateful you're still here. That you have a lot to say that it was meaningful to me, is meaningful to me, it is meaningful to a lot of people, and I love getting to know you.
Hey, too much niceness here.
I know, sorry. Time for a joke, somebody.
I don't know. No, thank you. Uh, yeah, I'm still questioning the what comes now piece.
Mhm.
Hence the whole thing of now why I'm still here, or now that I'm still here. Like, I'm asking myself that every day. Now what?
Yeah,
What do, what do I do with this? But I love your stuff too.
thank you.
It's gotten some of your things have helped me understand Katie better. And Katie was my girlfriend who passed away. You guys have shared similar struggles,
Mhm.
and something you know, I don't fully understand. Um, yeah, so but one step at a time.
Yes, and that is a higher order compliment, so thank you for that, and thank you for this conversation. Super fun.
Likewise. And how long did we talk? Oh, an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah, long
Damn.
time. But we'll do it again.
Of course.
Okay.
If you can survive this time. No. Uh,
I think I made it through. So,
Yeah, me too.
um, all right. Well, thank you. And, uh, I see there are people on here
Yeah,
and
43.
also
Damn.
appreciative of that.
Yeah.
Has been just a killer community. I am so incredibly, genuinely grateful for that. So, all
Yeah. Well, onwards to new friendships.
right.
And say hi to the little one for me.
Okay, will do.
Yeah. All right. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.